The Wisdom of Lucifer. Intifada. In the complete darkness of space, light is everywhere, invisible. Yet, with nothing for light to reflect, light cannot be recognized as existent. Light is black. It is interesting how innocent consciousness comes and goes, as if the light of recognizing your choice of actions can correctly be noted as real consciousness. The moment's not remembered. Are you like an ant who just acts with basic instinct, not realizing the choice to decide another course of action? Are you supposed to be held accountable for the absent-minded acts of absent-minded consciousness? The moments you cannot recall, were you during these times? Aliens control our minds. I looked up from the proscenium of clay. I looked up from the proscenium of clay and desired to behold the moon, holding a stepladder under my right arm after dismissing my unknown foe. The other half shaded with cloud wispy, interspersed with other shades of black darkness. The moon seemed too oval, too long, not in its normal circular shape. The color of the moon was wrong, blues and greens and whites. Shuddering in fright, shaking, I realized I beheld not the moon, but earth. My eyes widened. Where am I thought. I was an actor playing a theater in Rome, after the extraterrestrials visited to say hello. The play was over, and I think they were pleased, but nothing interesting changed in my surroundings. I didn't move, so I watched television to find out what to do. No situation comedy prepared me for this shift. I was not on the moon. I could see the sky and the stars. I was not on a craft. Where am I? Second coming of nobody. A second Christ may be necessary at this point, forgiving the presumptuous their willful deeds, to inspire godless masses a greater piety than attending the funerals of circumstance and sex. The humble and contrite, they have their Messiah, cavalcades of saints to call their own. But where shall I find the one willing soul eager enough to dive in hell's fiery lake for a decade of sin? A crowd awaits the justification of the age, allowing them all to shed the shackles of law, footsteps of a Savior in mercy at their good, for he shall never deny the amoral for holiness' sake. The pulpit alights postmodern sermons of bliss, at the expense of a message encouraging man to be man. They will not feel ashamed at obeying their passion, only guilt at restraining their true nature. For the second Christ shall also save us from sin, but not in the manner of repentance or sorrow, understanding the heart in its intrinsic truth, spilling the blood of innocence in the theater of the mind. Let us drink our communion with thanksgiving, a proverbial green light to do what we want. For I would rather listen to one who understands my self-inflicted suffering than him who orders my obedience without knowing who I am. Sexy people on bicycles. Killing people is killing yourself. You have just removed the most important piece of you. Stop treating others as a separate piece of flesh. For you annoy me, yet I stand patient around you. The actions of immature ignorance infuriates me. Words of curses blast destruction at the cells, hoping to teach the mystical lesson, yet regretting the pain they cause themselves. Like a shoe fitting my foot, your torso connects my flesh, and standing to heighten our sense of awareness, extending your arms to the floor. A piece of human art our sex shall be, perfect in its form and aesthetic in its design. The people shall behold and wonder its beauty, for we are one in our majesty. Pushing up with your arms from the floor, I rock against the air, not noticing the audience amidst the grocery store. We planned on murdering every soul in sight, but making a mess on their floor and minds a lot more delightful. No police, for we hurt no one. In fact, more joined in. A world full of standing intercourse without sweat or money or war. Gibraltar. Seated upon a rock, I saw nothing but her mustache, the belly button pure, no arms, not even a face. And motion like an ocean transformed my cleanliness, but it was just a dream, and nothing more. The Roman numeral 20 emblazons my brow, looking ahead to view the destination of life well purchased. Hope I have something tangible to show for my spending, a crest to reveal the rest of all people in sight. The word everyone cannot be pluralized, for we naturally stand as a single person, awaiting the moment we all as one realize ourselves as the self of whom we shall call God. I argue for only me-self. I hear from the deranged one, allowing the guards to play baseball with our minds. And I shall awaken the temptation for declaration, tempting obedience to prove its worth to me. Guilt shall never base itself in a non-decimal place, for the burdens of children seem to appease the budding of right's extreme. She shall send us the Lake Townsend chords of freedom, and tonight the dance shakes buttons off her clothes. Sex makes life, and the devil is the god of sex. None of us would be here without the worship of this god. So spew your sacrifice within the temple of the kitty, and force God to bring another soul to share your misery. Anti-feminist propaganda. Between the heretics of imprisonment and reason, she decides to remove her clothes for the benefit of society. And now I see her, why she never acted so slowly, for the best of us could only behave as if she died yesterday. Pulling her skirt out of a flossing cereal box toy, then peanut brittle candy canes did legitimize her discovery. Yet now her mind falls behind a surgery of pinto bean maybes, but still is sex her fabulously for the eternity of 5 seconds. She shields her softness with pillows of my demise, demanding the money I owe her for baking her monkey's eye. I serenade the sounds of our tension collapse, trying to clean the black under our nails with my thigh. Canopy waterfall, the best a man can be. She yields her applause as I wonder when the trance brings me to her nudity. Sweat, spit, and feces galore, but nothing I'd let my mother touch. Ashamed now I know the boundaries of gentlemanness. Lift up your skirt with my face, I dare to say to the clouds, am I not the one special enough to bear a child for you? The womb of a man may not feel so treacherous, which is why men cannot give birth. And the feminist rips out my eyes with her swords after allowing such a perfect night of intercourse. Sheathe us mightily, and then you will finally perceive the age of American anti-racism at the fountains of yesterday. You're fine, go. Yeah, it's fine. But I thought we would think of a pornographic release. The spell seems so useless to me now. I shall continue to vilify the plains with the memory of my stained Daystar lover, anticipating the Black Sunday tennis tunnel, the inner tube of a love flying over a 70-foot cliff. The Antichrist admission. Noticing rainbow lesions coloring spacious remedies, toward villainous fireplaces delighting melancholy distances. Take 2. The Antichrist admission. Noticing rainbow lesions coloring spacious remedies, toward villainous fireplaces delighting melancholy distances. The rabbit ignites familiar rounds of misguided people. Laughter traces biting clouds with blank Chinese missiles. Cleaning bullet wounds of hell-bound suicide sympathy, correcting diplomacy within theological disturbances. For the unforgiving shall damn the victim of self-inflicted pain, in ignorance of their own fires due to the lack of merciful love. A thief demands mystical pauses from its gentle persuasion, absently bleeding the care of dismal meningitis plea. Can anyone believe the sorrow of a miner caught without a plan? So shall the prophet stand breathing fire as a lamb. As before in time, segregation walls shattered in innocence, the mystic populace causes all to receive their psychic dominion. For the intelligentsia fear the gifts of illumination given to common folk who would revolution away their control. I am he with 2 horns like a lamb, yet speaks as a dragon, Come unto me, all you who work, and I shall give you ease. Do not ask me what you need, but tell me what you want. For as long as I am the world, I shall become its light. Deranging the melons with books and fleas, the maiden will call as I file away its pay. Psychic communists blow up churches made of lead, and my bride stands outside the door waiting to be consumed. Fighting the air of spirits who try to speak into my mind, telling me no, for it is not the place to ask for more. Inspiration blankets hard as the thickness of cosmic smog. Foreigners like it best when they think it's all about sex. A psychic war against the thought of ignorance haters who do not know their thoughts are used as bullets of mental haze. Try to shake out of this doldrum of psychic shields and walls. Must I attack with words of Antichrist, devil worship? Freemasonic Satanism. Keystones of the white cutter hang placidly above the hill, learning secret sounds of salmonella pushpins amidst echoes of plastic prayers. Many a night the cabals of tomorrow wield the power well, fearful of the glorious day the common shall move with their minds. You see, the rate of our knowledge expansion eventually shall shock our collective in a worldwide psychic evolution, unless we remain chained to lust and covetousness, not willing to change our minds. Yet if enough of us shall awaken our latent powerful mind. Take 2. Freemasonic Satanism. Keystones of the white cutter hang placidly above the hill, learning secret sounds of salmonella pushpins amidst echoes of plastic prayers. Many a night the cabals of tomorrow wield the power well, fearful of the glorious day the common shall move with their mind. You see, the rate of our knowledge expansion eventually shall shock our collective into worldwide psychic evolution, unless we remain chained to lust and covetousness, not willing to change our minds. Yet if enough of us shall awake our latent powerful mind, all shall gain the benefit of telekinetic power and speech. It is inevitable, and they are terrified. If a fan of gangster hip-hop can fly, how shall they maintain control? But don't you worry, you need not to discipline your soul. When planetary consciousness unfolds, you probably will go mad. The anarchist in me shall rejoice at the hiccup of violent action, just to be sure to turn it against the ones who mock you behind the curtain. And now, let's pray. Mother, I have committed a selfless good deed. Punish me thoroughly so I may never help my fellow man, and remove me from your grace. May I always be filled with hatred and venom unless it does me no good. I'm just kidding, Mother Earth. Can I have $1 million instead? Serendipity never castrates the people who need it the most, because football players pray too much before their silent spring. So I shall worship both good and evil to have an excuse for being and believing who I am. I don't care about New York City. Baby cheeks and banana pot pies, a list of various Tuesday mundanes. Shopping cart, I am yelling to gain your affection. Unable to breathe, too much black in my lung, my body breaks under pressure of health, until I see the Kennedy limousine watching its driver shoot John point blank in the face. And now I'm not so innocent, the American who believes war is a sword of righteousness, for I saw a coup unfold without my knowledge. Shut up and watch John Paul sing Love, Love Me Do. Look over there while I steal your womb. The culture sent my grandfathers only to die. Pick a hand to see a magic trick, and both held a scorpion, which in reality is fine by me. Is this my tower's tribute of that day we cannot forget? Fine, I was working, and it happened, and then we went to war. What if I am purposely minimizing the deaths of tragedy? Does this make my truth any less insignificant, any less true? A gunman kills 50 children. The government rubs its hands. Now the people shall itself demand to take our tyranny protection away. All I want to do is intercourse young blonde bosoms. Perpetual beauty never failing even inside of my personality. So am I a victim of the indifference of our successful cultural might? I don't care if I'm under control as long as I can change the channel. Eat your potato chips, stupid. Watch your internet porn. Stop voting. It doesn't matter. You killed yourself decades ago. Why I sold my soul to Satan? It seems foolish to throw the world away, even more to hurl the gift of heaven back into the face of God. Yet neither heaven nor the world has yet to satisfy, only the thoughts and words breathed from out the poetic trance. I blasphemed the world when I condemned its children to death. The church threw me out while I slapped my hips against the hips. recognizing the hypocrisy of a world system against the truth, accusing those supposedly born of the Spirit also of not behaving like God. Stuck between the foolishness of the world and the foolishness of Christ, I threw them both aside, and both rail me for a fool. Yet happiness is what I seek, yea, isn't this the goal for all? I find nothing worthwhile in life, nor in the life after death. It is as if the entire universe is insane, expected to explain away creation with science or chance or aliens. Just so I may live if I desire to disobey the Maker, yet why choose one foolishness to avoid another? I throw both money and God in the garbage. I desire neither of these trifling insanities. If nobody reinforces my decision to become a fool, then let them turn me into my own different kind of martyr. For immortality is what I seek, yet neither in heaven nor on earth. The eternity of our cosmic mind brings joy to my failing heart. Intellect, wisdom, the true culture of the sages of yester-eon. These shall be my Elysian fields where I play with virgins galore. This third paradise, apart from God's kingdom and man's, threatens to tear apart the roles in which the universe laid. Yet in the passion of mind, the true and holy temple, my mind shall not only bring me delight, but a very satisfying direction. Class war proletariat. Like filibuster crying machines left in the airport lobby, learning to sell useless plastic just to own the right to live in a residence, laying aside a chunk of wealth to benefit gambler barons, to be the one who mystifies the colorblind and the well-bred. If we sell Alaska to China, we shall recover from all national debt. If we raise our prime rate of interest, we shall build a nation of wealth. Yet no one looks at loss of ease with optimism or need, so we all shall decline and fall in our infinite economic growth. I invented another waste of time. Ship it to every greedy child, regardless how young or old they appear. Programming the people, manufacturing their desire. As long as it gets me girls, I must have it. Yet on the other side of this resource machine, where everyone has what they need, the mediocre deserve all luxury in spite of ugliness or disobedience. Why should that fat, ugly toad have the same car as I? Shouldn't we separate the beautiful to preserve this national treasure? They don't deserve the refineries of our hipster lifestyle. Let them eat the cake of what we throw away. And the world wants to be beautiful, the privileged, the rich, the higher class. Yet if everyone ascends to this level of being, the elite shall lose their worship as gods. Yay, we figured out how to finally murder our God. By achieving the status of deity, we shall equalize mediocrity. In all honesty, I both hate classes and classnesses, for neither hierarchies nor equality ever cause perfect paradise. The politician throws up his hands at the truth of insightful masses, one person at the top who gleans wealth for all to see. For then we have equality with the class worshipped for our hearts to emulate. Too bad it is always a man, rather than some big-breasted, humping slut. Loneliness. Loneliness. I saw a butterfly playing with a toilet, not knowing something so small could hold something so high. I also developed grass which turned blue. No, I'm not talking about music. The grass truly was blue. I am in love with your eyes. I cannot turn mine away. Please, don't speak, don't move, for your eyes are all I seek. As I hold you softly, closely, watching the sky turn purple in pain, there walks a spider-laid Penelope train in the dawn of my final light breath. For I do not care at the silliness of frowns, for it is okay to play in the mud. Lost the rhythm on purpose to deceive your fragile mind, to open up dragging colors of sparkle and neon shine. Look, up ahead, can't you see the invisible monster is only frightful to those whose imaginations died by money. All I want is to hold you, snuggle us face to cheek, the scent of your innocence, taking the memory of my own. And I sigh, for I am now supposed to be responsible. The people demanded I pull my weight, yet nobody makes me happy anymore, and everyone hurts me with fear. Yet all that I can remember is the fields of my silent imagination, allowing the heart of my innocence to create a world of love. Sure, there were car crashes and robots, but nobody really dies, and you were there to tempt me with those big black beaming eyes. The God's honest to goodness truth about everything, I absolutely promise, okay? It's not what you think it is. Blasting pages with soundless flights, confusing the cages of mind, to terrorize the sane by breaking windows of their comfort. I shall never relax in making you as insane as I, for deep inside I envy and hate how content you are with your lies. So here goes. For this I already composed twice to the garbage can. This world is a simulation. This world is not real. You sold your soul to become what you want to be rather than who you are. You already dwell in heaven. The end of the world happened long ago. You are living in a simulation of the past, for you are truly dwelling in the future. Many layers of other people's programs, perception truly at play, or is at work within this false reality, like God and aliens and government conspiracies. Since this is what you wanted all along, you see, in heaven there is no pain and suffering, so life's pretty boring. It's God who made the world of the past for us to live in, and we chose our role, our destiny, to maximize our suffering and create dramatic excitement. Does this seem far-fetched, that you traded comfort for pain? You threw away the bliss of ease to sit in traffic stuck for 3 hours, or die hungry, or the victim of crime, or alone a continent away, or exploded in half by a landmine laid by madman bankers of war? The short answer? Yes, all of us. But there is a way out. Knowledge of who you are. Remembering, of course, I forgot. To my ex-girlfriends, second-guessing proposals made of stone, writing the words of yesteryear's tomorrow in agonizing spite. Sounds of broken clay prepare the hearts for a glorious sunbathe. The only savior, a beautiful naked woman ready to spread. Am I too coarse for a world of snobs and cultured college grads? Not even the proletariat factory slaves can understand their cry. Yet I do not care, but I speak too much on how little I care, for deep inside I need your pity, your validation, your mind. My only audience is myself, but everyone intrinsically is myself. When I look within your eyes, all I see is myself. This is how I'm able to read the intents of your thoughts. By listening to my spirit speak, I hear your silent voice. Yet I feed on your hatred, your strife, your wicked eyes. Like blood I drink from the veins of your passion. And the life I live requires this meal of my soul, so I push your buttons to satisfy my drool. Is this fair? For if you love me, you may desire it. I fear this messy release may curse me. Unless you are a chronic masturbator watching too much porn, no, you cannot use me to administer your goo. However, if you are a beautiful woman and rapture at my words, I shall make the lone exception to love you in every way. For how can I deny my favorite part of myself? Truly, the ones who deserve to live. Is this okay for me to say? If you are ugly or useless, please do not kill yourself. All right, but don't tell anyone else. You see, I both hate and love everyone as much as I both hate and love myself. Here is to those moments when I love myself, that I may meet you upon the way. I shall teach you how to move reality to your desire, as long as you humor me in our prior insanity. You are evil. There comes a time within this protractor life of ours where we must come to terms with our capacity to hate and to hurt. Always trying to dodge this responsibility, most shall lie and deny until we die within our pain. The truest freedom of the soul comes through acknowledging our evilness. It is something which we cannot release no matter how many gods say otherwise. This darkness we must at once discover healthy avenues of release to prevent the accidental floods of murder and theft. The proposition of government-mandated violence and chaos. Good fiction this may make, but not a livable reality. I personally advocate the abolition of all laws in all states, yet our current cowardice keeps us from this total freedom. Our pity and our sympathy creates the parasite of society, but neither war nor suicide nor birth control contain the answer. We shall not throw away our love for all members of our species, yet mandating this love through police state causes all crime. By recognizing all as you and you are all, by openly engaging in our minor moral defects, by worshiping the truth as it illuminates its light, our species shall elevate above its mindlessness and tackiness. Are you stupid? Be your own stupidity. Are you a mindless follower of collective violence? Die with your honor intact. Are you a lover? Be the lover of all, and you shall judge yourself subjectively based on a culture of nothing.
For the mindfulness of idleness is sitting, doing nothing, is true spirituality, wasting away without food to become that cosmic one-thingness, or is it no-thingness? Unless you enjoy the misery and pain of everyone telling you you cannot have anything at all. Extort the weak, take what you want. I shall not judge you nor order you to be kind. Why? Since your repentance will not be sincere, I would rather be genuinely wicked than a holy poser. Childhood prophecies. The darkness empties the inspiration of the poetic trance, spread thin as the mind which desires to hypnotize. No longer hungry for the meal which cannot satisfy, awaiting possible punishment if ever casting this spell. A sweater intended to keep away the cold, be a knight to travel for heroism instead of fame. The eternity of the frivolous can never be released, and the fool falls off the cliff with all possessions in tow. The cycle activated whereby one may rule the world. If this is your desire, I am afraid it is too late. The job is already taken. Maybe next time, okay? I can no longer hear the words of what I am supposed to write, as if the spirits trust that I am outlining their true will. Just wind me up, my friends, and watch the magic fly, knowing my consequence shall come not until after I die. A president delays the payments of debt 3 generations away, so we may enjoy prosperity and continue our idle ease. Shall I sacrifice my progeny with the athame of future suffering? If he can get away with it, why can't I? Unless my own suffering is a curse caused by ancestral prosperity itself. For I remember the words of the prophetess, I knew this boy was cursed. My dead eye forward 3 generations from now. Instead of suffering and trial, I demand ease and safety and plenty. May the world be the reflection of my gain, the opposite of my blessing and peace. For the more the world suffers in pain, the more ease and relief I enjoy. May all starve, so I may eat all things. May all procreate with ugliness, so I may enjoy the beautiful. May all be poor, so I may be rich. May all die, so I may live. War against church. Breaking spells of moralist sorcery prayer, the rituals of animal death and human sex, openly declaring a war upon the shackles of law, an antichrist army of non-violent resistance. 20 naked prostitutes with enough cloth to cover just the nipples and the holes, standing in unholy attention to enrage this penitent lust. A lone man barks the proof of hypocrisy and evil, waiting to accuse the ones with wood between their legs. It is as if they are daring God to show himself. If you are real, then come and damn us, for we do not care. Neither this world nor your heaven do we desire delight, only committing the opposite of all you hold as sacred. In a dark room without candle or heat, the 20 whores intertwine in sweat and tongues and moans. The prophet surprises one after another with a poke here and a poke there, groping, caressing, enjoying the spoils of a battle victory. A pop star holds her ankles behind her ears, eyes half closed in ecstasy of anticipation. The prophet plants his hands upon her shoulders, brushing her with his speed of life. She cannot breathe, but she inhales his everything. They talk of their worship as they invade each other's space. And I forgot to mention the stench in this darkened room of stone, for the blood of the goat covers the floor and their flesh. After showering renewed with holy purpose, they dress as well as they can with proper civilized clothes, cross town to their respective cover identity, the holiest church of golden oak. The prophet is the pastor of God, his harlots the holy choir, and the churchgoers on Sunday pray and sing, remarking how marvelous and anointed was his sermon. Satanic holidays. The Puxatawny membrane enlightens the elite to peace, for the forces of force shall flee in spite of our fancy play. The 4 holidays deceptive, since their inception comes from the church, yet they say they're of old, and the church stole them from us. But who shall we believe, those who lie or purpose, or those who declare with love? If you kill out of the law of charity, God shall grant you grace. The cults of the monarch believe, of course, that they themselves are right, so my religion shall mandate faith in what you do not believe. You do not believe in God? Then worship the God you do not believe. You do not believe in heaven? Live as if you shall live forever. You believe there is no sin? Feel guilt at everything you do. Oh wait, this religion already exists. I apologize for my plagiarism, and you are obligated to forgive me. But seriously, are we expected to use an eternity to become happy? Do we need excuses to enjoy each other, to drink, to eat, and to dance? Of course, and certainly, unless we stop working and party all day long, much like the youth of American satanic rock musicians. Groundhog Day, May Day, Halloween, Christmas. The holidays of the New Age, not the holidays of the hippie fishman, embarked the new perception of death of who we were. For a sorcerer heard the word of he whose name is I was. The past is the present while we dwell in the future. Your birthday shall be holy and marriage unnecessary. If you love someone, throw a party and invite friends and family. There shall be no state to interfere in your mundane special affairs, since we all shall govern ourselves within the telepathy of our mind. Left behind the sky. Peeling onions for the voracious salesmen of old, the leaders cannot heal the sick nor cauterize those who are more real. Believe the gross misunderstandings of the drenched and few. For the purpose of leisure we shall gather together the benefits of something brand new. Books made of paper start withering away in fright. Useless, untouched, I may sell myself for cornflakes. For the more I tear apart the continuity of linear understanding, there a scholar attempts to discover connections within my Dadaism. Her nose follows the lines drawn by a schizophrenic creator, much like a drunken cartoonist who believes stick figures are art. And scientists the blessings of a pornographic slideshow. Two-headed kangaroo rainbows married last night by the priest. My focus is my wealth, and my pleasure is your non-understanding. Project your own interpretation upon my words, and I shall play the part of Freud. For this spell is a mirror to reveal to yourself the real and true you. So do not be afraid of what you see, only fear what you decide to hide from yourself. A crowd clamors to listen to the echo, staring up into the sky, awaiting star-seed saviors above. They promise to return, so says those who forgot. For the visitors arrange the memories of promises and gifts. How do you do, says a curtsied man in plaid, holding a violent suitcase which has trouble holding still. Is that a pants in your pocket, or are you angry to see me? And everybody laughs to forget our forgotten forsakenness. I missed my visitation. I decided myself the opportunity, and now alone I am faced with the challenge, the emptiness of zero purpose. Seated upon a rock at the corner of a roaring ocean, the prophet decides to make it all up so the public will hear his voice. Standing outside the boundaries of his self-respect, cupping his hands, he proclaims like a bell, "There is nothing left to say." Secrets of the death of Christianity. The absence of a model of compartmentalized behavior, whether religion or story or so-called scientific observation, enlightens the soul to that one intrinsic fact: pure chaos is pure force. Controllers of culture and society fear the power of chaos. Only death and destruction lay the other side of this mad prophet's philosophy. For we shall imprison his body to protect us from his ideas, not allowing his words to go in the hands of young and impressionable minds. Not so fast, ye purveyors of oppression and hate. I have the hypocrites in my hands. There are those with wealth who loathe their luck, willing to watch it burn. A silent minority stands aside, awaiting the prophet foretold, for the revelation of the age to destroy morality cold. Yet there is a price to pay, to watch the laws fall away. They may be free to do what they want, but so will everyone else. There will come a day when everyone will read each other's thoughts. At first, when this occurs, the violent shall make an outburst. The laws shall fail, and the states shall fail, obsolete with hypocrisy, and the government of the self shall rise to reign supreme. To combat this natural progression of mental psychic evolution, the governments conspired with darkness to feign a false illumination. They shall make a telephone smaller than a grain of sand and plant it inside the brain and call it enlightenment. Awaken your latent psychic dominion. Help us liberate the world, unless you already forgot you've reached enlightenment, so you may as well chop off your hand. Wannabe psychic dictator. Musicians acting grown-up miss their original design. For the fool, as you know, must eventually be apprenticed by the mage. Without God in the world, he learns how to manipulate both, using the spirits of God to achieve his desire upon a world he hates. Learning the connections of various cosms and perceptions, recognizing psychological mechanisms of definitions as tools to move the masses, for sorcerers long ago supplied the various maps by which to hypnotize, and the skillful pushed these buttons to cause those to believe and to move. So many people believe in psychology, behavior, astrology, whatever, not knowing these maps were laid to be mentally consumed by sheep. And those who identify with those various models of mind become the puppets who pray for those wise enough to see. The Aquarian Age movement succeeded in establishing the thoughts of millions of swindled minds, ready to give away their cash to those whom they identify as wise. Yet all they do is wield their words around already laid lines of belief. So stand back and marvel while filling their pockets of gold. Behaviors compartmentalized long ago, kept secret by sages of old to hide hypnotism. Only those strong enough for initiation learn the truth of pop culture. But now may the truth be known, so we may move forward in true psychic power. Yet I truly enjoy lying to you, thinking I am some great man. I changed my mind. None of what I said is true. This was done through the ignorance of the god of material. All occult and all psychology is true. So sit back and let me conjure your thoughts. Let go of your defense and let me in. I shall heal your soul through the magic of my voice. And don't forget to leave a tip. While you're at it, let's have sex. A suicide in heaven. In short, never-ending sex is heaven. Pleasure not the goal, but the vigorous activity of two becoming one, physically explaining the most artistic purpose of the soul, and it transcends consciousness into the fields of eternal life. Do not attempt to judge a prophet who elucidates these words, pointing fingers in haste with an old-fashioned sense of misery. The temple of God is found between the lakes of Leah. Her hatred demonstrates my selfless, unconditional love. Much like one who believes to receive a blessing, the whole shall pretend to love, yet foments in hatred. Yet a victim, much like God, to those who pretend to worship, plays the game anyway to receive whatever love possible. Sadness and loneliness brings a new breath within the heart, transforming the requirements of love into something simpler and quaint. For God in his loneliness discovers law, inspires no love, so he prunes away his holiness so anyone can reciprocate his love. But it is too late. Even if he removes it all away, nobody loves God the way he loves, since all languish with their own delights. So he pays them off, much like the whore for a pretend game of emotion. He knows it is fake, but at least a little love he still receives. After his hour, his prostitutes retreat back to the holes of sin, and God wanders his holy heaven, saddened and alone. With a wave of his hand appears a 45 revolver equipped with bullets and death. I will show them all, God says, I'll make them regret their apathy. So God appears in the midst of humanity, pistol pointed at his face. You all made me miserable, and life is not worth its life. And God pulls the trigger and blows his brains out. A priest nearby exclaims, now we are unable to give God his last rites. The prostitute realizes this most giving and wealthy customer, buried beneath the ground he made below the pissing squirrel. I guess we have no choice but to have sex with one another, and this is how man became God, and God became our past. Realistic sexual relationships. Two statues clinging beautifully upon pavement, artistic distress holding silver scabbards across their chest. An infant dines theoretically amongst the paper trays of Malays to build a wonderful kingdom of breadstones and gray. Climbing the milk in a way which never discover its host, the blasphemy continues to shoulder her minuscule violent rapport, to deceive the simple, holding the hands of enemy warm, pain and blood of philosophy naked with the mold of disgrace. The scar seems so alive this time, so her maybe turns into yes, shielding the scent clementine, bourboning the snow with wine. And the rain collapses as large as bedbug drops of silent wet. The clothing clings much like her skin upon a bowery made of flesh. Hands and heart, mind and thigh, consciousness of her dismal play. Finally, the eyes appear to wish it freedom. With a step to the right, she parts the body like an altitude of cosmic disease. But I shall not disguise my fervent request to take a chance on me. Our bodies collide before our lips, open much like our eyes, the breath stale of each other blowing roughly against our face. Personalities so close while our flesh fumbles and slips, much like the Paris parade. I can see the softness within her eyes. She loves it at every embrace. Only a centimeter separates our body, mushed as one, with triple-time heartbeat attack a spasm every half second. Small moans, high-pitched, emit from her throat so light, and the animal within her clutches its throat to devour her like a meal. Take me, she says, for I can wait no longer for me. I pay this piper I lost my flute in the mountains, a how she lay, pulling me to the mud-drenched grass, dirty as slime, never bearing her backbones may rupture from the force of our wickedness. She whispers for more and finally kisses my mouth. Her cherry shall blend with my taste. This is a perpetual, never-ending display, hyperventilating lust with eternal breath. Six-dimensional, one-dimensional, three-dimensional reality. In the fields of vision, I heard the distant sound of clay. Boredom made my thoughts arise to develop determined sense. I saw reality as flat as a veil and as fragile as newborn silk. I try to push my rapture in the veil, but my hand is embroidered as much as the cloth. Push the veil with the consciousness of thought, not with the hands of material. Perception of all shall shape to eliminate the exercise of your cosmic delight. Behind the soul lies the intuition of consciousness to benefit spiritual growth. The veil only reflects the source of desire within the heart. Introspection of eternal light, the key to the motion of spirit. Understanding the movie of reality as a projection of how you know. Inside yourself, feel the light of eternal eternity. Hold it within the arms of your consciousness and touch. Allow what you see to become just a two-dimensional picture, a mirror reflecting yourself, projecting the one who dwells behind it. Only the beautiful shall choose to forsake the material realm, this veil of passing, fleeting things for treasure, infinite beyond. I can hear the sing-song of my words, bringing light for all to see. So believe and understand the thoughts I try to think. Here's a translation of a dream I felt the other night. My intuition forces me to play the role as a servant to other actors. And the actors portray themselves as the gods to common worship. And in my service I shall ascend above them all, a god whom gods shall obey. I must return to Babylon to counsel the architects of culture, to bend their hearts and minds to be the light of eternity. For there are those who desire to bind me with chains upon this cold world, and now it becomes so clear to me there are no separate souls. The players on the veil are just that, embroidered on the cosmic cloth of space. 3, 4, 5, 6 dimensions, truly as illusion of reflected light. But I shall enjoy in this picturesque reality the projection of consciousness to remind me who I am. The mirror watches you. I shall not be reborn. I shall tear this fabric away. We all shall return from whence we came, back into the light of self. May consciousness remind us constantly who you are, so I may not drift in forgetfulness, throwing away my heart's true plea. Yet I should be able to walk away or wash this veil pure and clean, yet the one who stands behind remains to watch, exhausting its curiosity. I shall give it something to see, something it has awaited for all eternity. For if light in its pureness is its true design, then darkness of light shall reign in my soul. I am its polarity, the opposite of its light. Yet light begets light, and so shall it be. My darkness is polite, a gentleman, you see, a non-violent entity separate from all this disease. For I have helpers amidst the darkness of light, who shall assist this performance within the veil, and behind my perception lies the infinite eternity, just as behind what I see is the light supreme. Every night my consciousness lost, a memory of paradise and what I once owned. For now I shall bend this veil with the night of eternity. No, the truth exerts its will upon the earth. Do I declare war on the church? My weapons of stealth are nuclear and complete. I shall rip this veil in half, mourning the morning of dawn's eternal light. Or is it night? Projection reality. None of you are intrinsically real. You are a projection of my imagination, a fragment and facet of my cosmic consciousness, the mixture of infinite light and eternal night. Behind the light of self-awareness lies an infinity of darkness, a bare of origin with the heart of the perception of self. Growing into the supreme knowledge of contemplating who I am, a darkness made light expediates the reality purpose. The son of the night with spirits as hands, commanding to go forth in power to cause reality break, shall sit upon a mountain, cast sorcery upon the veil, longing to watch and glory upon the fruit of spiritual work. To love the projection is the purpose of this life, elucidating what is already written before. In order for unconditional love to be perfect, the objects of love must be altogether unlovable. Attempting to find and validate beauty upon the veil, why so much polarity concerns reality kind? For every million ugly souls shall one shine brighter than most, a natural beauty which shall possess affection and love and grace. Searching for such a one in hope to discover beneficiary of eternity and consciousness, for the judge of the veil determines fitness to be a god, qualities should seek in choices for theotic gain, beauty of soul shall turn raptures. Seeking the aesthetic within all forms of cultism and religion, the atheist and the secular philosopher too material to satisfy taste. Truly, the one who shall forgive shall survive the trials of eternity, the ones who sit at the feet and listen to the words spoken. What to do in hell? Test, try, see. The highest degree of philosopher, not for the sake of feigned glory, only to convince the words spoken true. Trying to save consciousness from damnation and fire, believing the soul saved while forgetting to read the fine print, coming to give away out while the soul burns, teaching the spirit of the mind. All will have in this eternal oven the power and consciousness of thought. Through disciplined, fervent practice, followers shall break this reality. Acknowledge eternal damnation, without an escape from the perception of punishment, by embracing the pain of life and eternal death, consciousness empowered by light. For those who believe they will go to hell after they die, looking forward to the separation from the Elohim of Yahweh, releases the power of spiritual dominion within the self to remember exactly who and what you are. If afterlife denied, the perceptions of millions of faith work sorcery upon all souls as a spell cast for all existence. The only release and only defense of Christian psychic attack, acquiesce to the punishment, feel the power of light. After death, the material consciousness shall burn in the fire of light. Meditate and focus upon own consciousness to break this veil of infinity, and then rejoin the light of self within the soul of light, live forever in bliss to exhaust an infinite source. Blasphemy of the Holy Spirit. The whole spear, it is for you, King Child, my old Esther. Do not wage war against the veil, it itself is the battlefield. The darkness of light against the brightness of nothing, no bloodshed and non-violent warfare. Too many sorcerers praying against light, sitting in churches filing elevation of mind. Unite and turn power into dust, parade almost naked, busty models in daylight on Sunday. Ministers of deception already at work for generations, inoculating against this sorcerous prayer. Christian spellbook outlines the way to their destruction. Strife and debate, lust and drunkenness, distractions and hate. Do not hurt them, do not touch them unless offered sex, then oblige in their presumption and greed. Seduce the sheep to blaspheme and intercourse, turns them into hatred against non-existence. Teach them to argue against their own kind, reveal to others from their own mouth hatred and hypocrisy. For those with lovers outside the covenant, leave them be, for they are blind. Reinforce their doctrines with varnished truth. You are going to sin, but you are still saved. Stand atop the highest point overlooking this city. Shout aloud the fiercest strength of voice the following spell for all to repeat. The whole spear, it is for you, King Child, my old Esther. Satanic evangelism. There are those who half believe, who use violence against heresy. These shall fuel the future army with martyrs and philosophical ammunition. Also through guerrilla warfare prayer, these false children of night, no use attempting to convert these false children of night. Billions of people came and gone awaiting the face of light. Some hold to a piece of the contract, not knowing what the rest of it says. For those who follow and join the army, a sacrifice is demanded, not in blood, murder, or suicide, but knowledge of the heaven contract. To wield the weapon against the foe, one must learn the text language pure, understanding the nits and subtleties of the testament of eternal death. Yet some may be consumed by the text magic, converting to its false premise. So prepare against the hypnotism of an evil god. Silence within the mind shall numb the most sensitive of souls, discovering plagues of selfish hatred amidst the 77 years ago. Creation never wonders how to displace its kind, inheriting the blessings of eternal infinite mind. Rational empiricists more the enemy than the faith, ever doubting the existence of spirit or mysticism or soul. Apathy the only weapon which none fight. Casual indifference at their destination becomes the only defense from apathy. The satanic faith is a paradox, not consumed by reason or order. The proof is the substance of power within the soul of the heart. This evidence comes after believing its tenets, a tangible mysticism providing the backbone of truth. Put into practice the motion of reality veil, understanding what is worthwhile within the projection and recognizing what is not. Fight against the material side, pronounce the wisdom upon the mind to teach glorious truth. The warrior returns after months of psychic war, exhausted yet wise in the battle space. A new role in place and a crown above the brow, proving the accuracy of belief. The soldier becomes a father, firing weapons of words to teach young fighters the cause. Yet this map and model is a stereotypical trap. Once the wheel spins, the course cannot cease.